Welcome to the Marketing Matters podcast, where we dive into technology and marketing trends and everything just in between. And today I'm with my lovely co host.
Steve.
Yeah, and I'm Victoria. And today we are going to focus on the social media trends. Every time we begin the year, I know we always have resolutions on a personal basis, or even in business. You always think, what do I want to do this year? What are my resolutions? And even as a marketer, when you're thinking about when you're beginning the year, it's always good to think, what are the things that were working last year? What were things that were not working last year? What are the things that I'm expected to know, or what are the things that I can implement in business or in my career in the year that you're in. Now we are talking about 2025. So today we are exploring the different trends that we are to expect in social media in 2025. So I hope you join us. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you'll be able to implement whatever we'll be able to discuss. So we'll just go ahead and dive in. But before we go to the different things that we are expecting to have this year, Steve, I don't know, what do you think generally are the topics that are meant to trend this year? Is there anything that you think that would work, even as you compare with last year? Is there anything that you think we are expected to talk about, or even the audience is expected to listen, and even they'll be able to comment later on to tell us if what we're saying is true or otherwise?
Yeah, I think we can first of all have a look at what happened last year, especially in Kenya. For when we started the year, nobody thought it was going to be the way it developed. And I think at the beginning of the year, the topics that people were interested in was, how to change careers, how to evolve in the AI space, how to use AI for my, business or my career. So a
Mm.
lot of conversations in the how to transition to an AI or to a tech. Uh, a lot of conversations or a lot of topics that were even content creators were pushing last year, apart from the normal content creators who push different products, was about transitioning careers and trying to make sure or future proof your own career and your progress and even your business from being disrupted by AI. And then, of course, towards the half of the year, all the way to the end, it has been largely political conversation. And what is interesting is, while Kenya's political conversation also took center stage, especially because of what happened on, was it June 25th? What also drove global conversations was a lot of political discussions. The UK was voting for their PM. The whole eurozone had a lot of political issues. There was also the issue of the continued wars. So people are a lot of talking about Palestine, Hamas, the issue in Russia. Then America was also in an election year. So a lot of conversations there were largely political, people arguing for their side. And also, again, that conversation about AI and AI's people trying to understand what AI meant for them, themselves as people, and their whole careers, and the people that they think, or the careers that they think would be influenced. So largely, I believe that's what I saw in the conversations last year, and the data supports that. This year, my view is that in the Kenyan context, again, as we begin the year, there will still be some political conversation, but I'm sensing some fatigue in people in terms of consuming political content. So I
Mhm.
foresee this year being still mostly about people trying to just get ahead in life, trying to manage their cost of living. So you'll find, I suspect there'll be a lot of conversations about people trying to try new businesses, or which new business to start in 2025. That might drive the
Mm.
first quarter of conversation, which career to pursue, or how to manage your finances, or how to grow your income, and whatnot. And that usually is the trend, because people, even as we talk about politics and AI, people generally just want to do self-improvement. Then, even as the year develops, I suspect, depending on how the technology evolves, there will also be a lot of content with regard to the tech space and AI. AI has just started, and I suspect there'll be more, especially now with the, and then also on social media, and the evolution in that space. There will also be a lot of conversation. Right now, there's a lot of conversation about TikTok and whether it will be banned and whatnot. I suspect if that is not banned again, that will create a whole lot of conversations, and people now realizing that maybe you don't want to be fully reliant on a platform. So there might be a conversations about which social media platform to have as a backup in case one goes down, and also which tools to use to grow faster, because as people move to different social media, people no longer want to wait for 6 months to a year to grow. So there'll be a lot of also searches and trends, people trying to just get ahead of the game and say, I want to get to a million. How do I get to a million? Uh, what are they called? A million users in maybe 6 months or 3 months. So I suspect that will be, in my view, again, that will be what drives conversations and trends in the year. And then, of course, generally speaking, people trying to sell and push influencers in whatever real estate, tech, banking, those will continue as they have, because social media managers, as you know, in this industry, once you have something that works, a company wants to continue. So if you're working in a digital marketing firm, chances are whatever you've done for company A is what they'll expect you to replicate in another company. So the normal influencer marketing is still going to be big. And now what might happen maybe is there might be a rise in the small influencers, but they will still influencer marketing will still play a big role in the social media space come 2025.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I think now that is one of the social media trends that we are talking about today. The
Mm.
topics that you expect to trend this year. And so if you're thinking of creating content and you're in these spaces, either you're in the finance, you're in the social media space, you're an agency, you already have already been given an idea or topics that you can start off, or topics that you can talk about in the social media space to encourage or empower people to be able to give people value for what they are looking for. So
Mm.
that is a very important, and actually it was supposed to be the first point.
Mm.
Um, so the second thing that I think we'll also experience, and first of all, even as I'm talking about the second point, if this is sort of like an obvious statement that I would want to mention, if you're a business, because this is going to apply to you as a business, if you're a business and you're not in the online space in 2025, this is the resolution that you're supposed to start off with, because whatever you're going to talk about requires you to first be in the platform. So if you haven't been exploring in the social media space, you've only been in the social media space as a spectator, then now this year is a year where you need to explore on this social media space. So what I would want to mention is the demographic shift. And this I mean, when social media platforms were coming on board, you would experience different demographics, different age groups, different people in different locality considering a specific social media platform. Like now we would have Facebook were known for the millennials, TikTok were for the younger generation, LinkedIn was for HRs and employees. But right now, when you look at the platforms carefully, you'll realize that people are now on different platforms. You have the same person who is now accessing Facebook, who's also accessing TikTok, who's also accessing LinkedIn. So it's not about now the age group or the age demographics that you'll consider. It's not TikTok. We now have older people in TikTok. In fact, we have older people creating content in TikTok compared
Influencers.
to, compared to when people are saying, oh, this is not for the young audience. But now we have everyone on this platform. So you as a content creator, or if you're a marketer, then what you need to consider if you're talking about targeting, it's not about the demographics, it's more about the content that I'm creating. Is it going to fit the the person who's coming to access this content in TikTok. Like if you go to LinkedIn or as a user, or if you go to TikTok, there's a way there's an expectation you go to get when you're in TikTok. You will not come to TikTok to watch a long form video, because you know
Mm.
that when I want to watch a long form video, I go to YouTube. If I want to get more trending topics and political topics, I'll go to X. So when you're creating that content, you need to consider the platform that you're taking the content. This platform is majorly known for what? What do people come to this platform to access? Then that means the content that you create, you'll be able to twist it. Even if it's one content, this content that you create, you'll twist it to fit the TikTok audience, to fit the Facebook audience, to fit the people who are accessing LinkedIn. And then that will help you now be able to be beneficial on all these platforms. So don't focus on, oh, this is a young generation content, so platform, so I'll create content for the young generation. No, this platform, for example, if you're talking about TikTok, this is a platform where people like watching short form videos. So when I'm creating my content in TikTok, I'll have to create a video that is short form, and even if it's entertaining or it's educative, how am I able to ensure that this 1 minute video or this 2 minute video is able to still be beneficial to the user who's going to access the content. So I don't know if Steve, you
Yeah,
think about.
that's true, Vicky.
Yeah,
Because demographics information or data used to be useful when social media's platforms were heavily segmented. I don't know when they were starting, because when say Meta was starting, it used to be for campus people, and then now the old people caught on. Now it's an old people platform. And of course, as now additional social media platforms came, what you would notice is the younger generation kept moving with the social media platform, because it became trendy. There was a time the young population was on X or Twitter when it was called, and then they moved to IG, and then they moved from IG. Now they went to Snapchat. Now they are on TikTok. But the thing about, like what you've said, is with social media platforms and with the way consumers work, is people go where the action is, and the action right now, or the action for the last 2 years, has been on TikTok. And so it means the people who frequent a platform are no longer defined by age group or even gender, because these days now, the way content is done is that you can do content to just suit your audience. And maybe we
yeah,
can talk about the evolution of niche influencers and niche content creation. But that's true, and I would support your point, especially in the sense of build or do content, not necessarily for, of course, for a specific demographic, but don't be so obsessed about, if I am only targeting corporate people, I can only be on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Or if I only want to sell uh, content, or if I want to do trainings, I can only do it via YouTube videos. So do content for your specific demographic, but don't let the platform define your demographic. Like, you define your own demographic and then distribute it based on, like what you've said, how the platform works. So if you're going to be on TikTok, don't go with the same language you would go on LinkedIn or X, because maybe the audience there they still want that information, and you'll still find professionals there. But and it's quite interesting, because we talked about this in a previous video, if I remember well, where we argued that these days people use social media platforms to fit different needs, so that it's no longer, I go to TikTok. Most of the time I go to TikTok, maybe if we're using general terms, I'm going for entertainment. So if your content is not entertaining on TikTok, it doesn't matter what you say, even if you're talking about a business. Say you're talking about loans. If you don't make that content entertaining, where you give examples maybe that would resonate with somebody who is coming to laugh there, then it creates a big problem. So I just again supporting you where you say maybe you're saying for bank loans, your demographic is maybe people who are between the ages of 30 and 40. You are giving them, or mortgages. Say you are selling mortgages. An example on TikTok, because TikTok is now the in thing. If you're selling mortgages on TikTok, you cannot sell the same way you would sell it on LinkedIn, where you would provide, you say, mortgage maybe 9 years, this is the rate and whatnot. For TikTok, you would have to maybe give examples of how people have been buying houses for long. Actually, what people, when I say entertainment, sometimes people think you have to be funny. It is not funny. It is just the way that content is consumed is entertaining, in the manner that I don't feel like you're making me go to class. So when I sit and you're telling me actually houses in Ruiru cost like 10 million, houses in Runda cost 30 million for one bedroom, and I have this opportunity where you can buy a house in Kasarani that will give you the same square feet and whatnot in Ruiru that will cost maybe 30 million, and in maybe this period it will take you 15 minutes. That is content that people can consume on TikTok and feel like you have not bombarded them with information. But if you take the same content on LinkedIn, people might be wondering, why is this guy not comparing the level of income, the opportunities for somebody living in Ruiru versus somebody in Kasarani? Why is this guy not talking about the mortgage rates? Such things. So
Mm,
again, just to finalize on that matter, on that point is, do content for your specific demographic. If you're selling a product for women, continue selling a product for women, but use the platforms in a manner that the users expect using that platform, so that
mm,
you tweak your content, same content, but tweak it to serve different social media platforms and users, because personalities, I can be a serious person on LinkedIn, but when I go to TikTok, I just want to
yeah.
see funny videos. And
Mm,
it's not uh, that view that the audience or the same guy watching TikTok is a different person from the guy on LinkedIn posting serious stuff is a bit flawed. So that's good. Yeah, demographics will continue to be a gray area, not a gray area per se, but you will should continue to be defined by the business and not the social media platform.
yeah. So even as you're talking about the demographics and you mentioned about the content, I think it's also good to mention what to expect in 2025. There's a lot of change on how content needs to be created on the social media platforms. Right now, because of the competition, everyone is on the social media platform and everyone is trying to create content. So it's not for you to be able to be outstanding, or for you to be able to capture the audience. There are so many things that you'll have to consider in 2025. Else you'll be creating content and then you give up on the way because you're not getting the results. So how finding different ways in which you can be able to create content that will capture your audience. Maybe you'll have to involve staff to help you in creating content, or you'll have to involve customers when they buy your product and they share it on the platform. So you'll have to find different ways in which you can, creative ways in which you can be able to capture your audience and focus on things that will bring conversion at the end of it all. Are you building a brand? Are you getting more followers? Are you making sales in the process? So you have to ensure that whatever you're doing on those platforms is not only entertaining. If you're just doing following the trends, and you're doing, for example, there's a trend for dancing, and then you do it, and then you gain you gain more people who like your video, but you're not generating revenue out of it, or you're not getting leads. At the end of it all, you're just doing it for entertainment. So if you're a business and you're doing it, you have a business and you want to grow on the social media platform, then your focus should be, how am I able to get leads, or how am I able to get conversion at the end of it all, or build your brand. So for that to happen, then you have to focus on creativity of your content. The content has to, of course, first of all, be authentic. Is it authentic? Is it you're not copy pasting what you're seeing other people are doing, but you're looking at what people are doing and you're learning from what they are doing, and then you're implementing it in your brand. And not every trend will work for you as a business. You consider things that will be beneficial to your business. When you look at something that has trended, is it going to benefit your business? Or if I'm to implement it to fit my brand, will I be able to implement to fit my brand, and people will be able to understand and grasp that this is what I'm trying to explain to them. They are not only getting entertained and they go their way. So you have to consider the different creative ways in which you'll be able to build your content. And of course, growing in your authenticity and the online space, just ensuring that whatever you're saying relies with your brand, that your people are growing with you, and they're also trusting you in the process to be able to engage with you to buy their product or service.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, I'll just summarize it in maybe 2 or 3 lines, which is authenticity, creativity, and consistency will be the will be what drives success on your social media plan. And like you said, not every trend has to be followed. You don't have to. jump on every trend. Even if your client is insisting, why are we not doing a video where people are rolling over and showing our product, or people are being poured water, or something? You don't have to follow every trend. Maintain your authenticity and remain creative, but mostly be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, so even as we talk about the authenticity and creativity, you also need to, something that we'll also have to mention is the social media, the basics of social media that have always existed, but we have not everyone has taken into consideration. If you are now in business and you're only in one platform, then you can lose your social media following very soon, or very fast. Like now we're talking about TikTok being banned, and you're only on that platform. You see, you risk the chances of just losing your followers, and even whatever you've worked hard for. So ensuring that at least you're on more than one platform is very good. Like, audiences are on different platforms, and you don't know who you're going to engage where and at what time. So just ensure that the content that you're sharing on these platforms are suited for those platforms, but you are not only working on one platform. You're saying do or die. You're just on this platform. Just work on the quality and the quantity. When I talk about quality and quantity, I mean, don't only focus on creating value to the audience and then you do one video and you disappear because you're taking more time to create this video. uh, when you talk about consistency, just as you've mentioned, ensuring that you're creating more value and providing more content to the space. If you're, for example, on TikTok and you're doing like one video once a week, and people in your your competitors are doing 6 videos in a day, be sure that your growth is also going to be slow. So when you look at the trends, because of the competition, everyone is in the online space. People are producing massive content. So in 2025, expect to see more content on the space. I'm even thinking we are reaching a point where people are so bombarded with so much to listen to. So it will be more of, when they click on your video or on the content that you're provided, are you capturing the information, the audience, enough for them to stick to what you're sharing, or they'll scroll to another person who's sharing the same content, the same information that you're sharing, but because that person was convincing, then they're able to stay longer to watch their content. So focusing on quality content, quality and quantity, being on more than one platform, at least 3 platforms, and then also considering, when you look at last year, most of these social media platforms, especially TikTok, and I think Reels, they were awarding small content creators. Now, when you're creating content, like, it was not a matter of I have a million followers, then if I'm sharing content, then my videos will be capturing more people. It was, is your content quality? Are people loving the content that you have shared? This specific content that you have shared is the one that will be able to get more views, and therefore when it gets more views, then those people will be converting to followers or converting to leads. So ensuring that each content that you share at least is providing value to your customers, focusing on that content that you share, and then it will be able to generate more leads or revenue in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's more, if we can put it, is more like advice than necessarily a trend. And I would like to add on that in the sense that, like, the way you're taught about business and managing your investments is diversify. So if indeed social media platforms are one of your business uh, strategies or one of your business opportunities, then it also makes sense that you diverse that investment, your investment in those platforms, to not only be on one platform in case either you are banned from that platform, or the platform itself goes down, or there is a hack, or people are moving from that platform, or the government decides to block that platform for maybe a week. There's a whole lot of things that you need to do when you're diversifying, when you are considering about the platform to use. And like you said, you can't rely on one platform, especially because different audiences, the same audiences these days, are going for for different content on different platforms. And
Yeah.
just to again emphasize on what we've talked about on the creativity, because of the way you are bombarded with so much information as a consumer, now you are more, these people are giving more a premium, or are giving more time to content that is not only educative but also entertaining. People don't want to be bored just because they need information about how to be better marketers. So also, as a creator, you need to also get very innovative about how you deliver your content so that you stand out. Because you can be sure that when you're thinking about talking about how AI is changing the marketing space, there's like 100 other people who are doing that same content. And how do you stand out? You have to be entertaining, creative, and seem authentic. I think another trend that I think we should talk about is, even as now we're talking about the content, what type of content do you see being being popular in 2025? And for me personally, I view there are two types of content that will continue to be popular. Short form content, which is content that short form video content, will continue to be popular. And even social media sites will continue to tweak their platforms to allow content. Like we talked about last year, X is now allowing videos. LinkedIn will soon also pivot towards that space, because I think that the stats are also showing that people are doing more scrolling than they are reading those long posts. And please, this is just my personal appeal. Don't do those long form. It's good for maybe algorithms and whatnot, but you know also want to be entertaining to the audience. Don't do those content that you just pulled from Chat GPT and pasted on X or on LinkedIn. So my view is that short form video content, because TikTok has messed up a lot of people's attention span. So it's highly likely that people are now expecting short form video content that has whatever you are saying in like less than 2 minutes. But interestingly, there's also the rise of podcasts. And but podcasts now, while for last year mostly it was being done on YouTube for starting creators, I see this year a lot of long form content moving audio, because it allows people to listen to it while they're doing other things. People have now users are now consuming content like as if they're having a conversation with somebody, only that they are the inactive participant. So I foresee a lot of growth in podcast, but podcast that is, of course, it's strategic to do both video and audio, but I see a rise in audio podcasts, especially on the available channels. So I those are my two trends that I see in 2025: a growth in podcasts and audio specifically, and also continued growth or sustained growth in the short form video content.
Yeah, I think it's true. The short form videos, those are, we are expecting to see much of them in 2025. In fact, the different platforms are also focusing on now how to encourage that. The reels in Facebook, IG reels and stories in X, they've also been focusing on the video. So yeah, the short form, even YouTube is doing shorts. The short form videos is something that we expected to see more. Yeah, in terms of the long form content, I think the long form content is still meant to work, but now on a few platforms, not all platforms. Like for example, the articles and the LinkedIn newsletters. Anytime you're someone who's to go to newsletters on the LinkedIn or to blog, those are people who are readers. So they are probably going there to read the content. So maybe just finding ways of how to make it more conversation than just an article. Like you can make it more reader friendly, like interesting when you're writing the article or the blog. And if you're doing it like on the website, including more of the images and maybe a snapshot of the video in case someone would want now to watch the video. Because again, videos are, especially the podcasts, they are very long. And sometimes someone will just want to get what were these people trying to say, so they go to the blog or article to be able to experience that. Now on the podcast, for me, I feel okay. There's still much space in the podcast environment. The number, it's rising on a daily basis, but it's still there's still a gap that needs to be filled. Though I'm thinking we have had many podcasts that are interview related, like people are interviewing other people. And I've seen a scenario where you get, for example, one person who's known in the market, he's going to this platform, then without even, before you finish watching that podcast, YouTube, if you're watching it on YouTube, it has already recommended the other different interviews that the same person has has been interviewed.
Yeah.
And then you realize if some of those conversations are all more or less the same. And because the platform is going to be very crowded, I believe if you're in the podcast space, then you need to find your niche in the space, that even if you're calling the same person to come to be interviewed, then the person needs to be interviewed on a specific niche. Like if the person maybe was interviewed in business on the other area, if you're doing it in marriage, then focus on the marriage and not the business. That will help someone to be able to still listen to you, because you already had that story from the other end. So to avoid redundancy or repetition, because now it will be first, the first person is the one who gains it all, or the person who has the audience is the one who will be getting the converse, or the best interviewer. Again, you'll also have to work on your interview skills, because now the person who knows how to interview is the one who will get more audience, because now people want to come to this person to interview. In fact, when you watch the comments, some people will say, "Can't we interview this person?" It's not that they have not heard this story from another person, but they want to
You
hear
just want to hear
how.
him again.
Yeah, they want to hear him again, or they also want to hear how are you which questions are you asking him that he has not made, what has he not mentioned. So also being a good interviewer, but also involving normal conversations without really getting an expert to or a person who's known in the market to come in the audience. Just having normal conversations, like, because podcast is drawn from radio, and radio, if they don't have an interview, a person to interview, they just have conversations there as normal radio
Gospel.
presenters. So you'll also need to have that to ensure that your podcast is sustainable.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
also in terms of what you just said, this is again taking us back to the issue of demographics. My sense is that short form content will continue to be popular among the young audiences. Long form content will continue to be popular among the millennials and the baby boomers. So there was an argument some time back. People were saying that TikTok is killing YouTube because people take a long form, maybe a podcast like this, and then they slice it into 1 minute videos. And somebody's, when you scan five, you already know what has been discussed. But what I view is there are still people who, after listening to those 1 minute videos, still want to go and listen to the whole conversation. And that is generally the more, I don't want to call it mature, more the older audiences. Those guys may be the millennials and a few, very few Gen Zs, but largely millennials and baby boomers, and even the older generation are have been accustomed to long form conversations. So when you're doing the content, I would say you can even look at your stats and see which, if you're only on YouTube and you have shorts and you have the, what's it called, the podcast, you can even do it for yourself, especially for those who have already started podcasts, or do long form video. Long form video is video more than 30 minutes. So if you're already doing that content, try to just look at your demographics now for specific videos, but not for that specific channel. You'll likely see that, unless you're talking about gossip, and even gossip or those content that are sensational, people don't stick around for long.
Yeah.
But a majority of the audience who stick around up to the end are usually the older audiences. So, and another thing you learn as a marketer, or maybe if you're working in the marketing space, you understand is the older audiences also largely are the people who have the highest spending power. So
Yeah.
if you are trying also to appeal to these audiences, especially if you're talking about trying to push a product that you think maybe is sophisticated or is highly valued product, you can never go wrong with long form content, because people who want to spend more also want to know more about a product, and they don't want you to just summarize everything in 1 minute and expect them to spend maybe 100,000 shillings on you based on that one video. So have both, but understand who you're reaching on, especially on the content. That might even influence your language and the guests you invite.
Yeah, even as you mentioned that, then I am reminded in 2025, we expect to have more of ad spend than more of paid marketing than okay, we'll have balance between the organic and paid marketing, but more ad spend. Like because of the competition, everyone is in the online space, everyone is trying to share organic content. Then the social media platforms have also realized that they also need to uh, generate revenue from all this. So for you to be able to still reach your target audience, then you might have to also spend some money to generate more income or to get return on investment. So as much as you're spending more time creating organic content, then you'll have to find ways of how you can be able to boost that content to reach as many people or the right audience to be able to convert more people to sales. Because if you're a business, especially, your focus is to make money, and you don't want just to create content for the sake of it. So you have to boost, and the trick here is to boost the content that is working, like the one that you see people are liking. That's what you boost, or whatever you're selling for you to be able to get more. So we expect more ad spend in 2024. Not specific on the platforms because Facebook is still ranking, Google is still doing well. TikTok had started working, though mostly it was more of awareness, and they were posting or they were concentrating more on if you have a TikTok shop, which TikTok shop they are getting some percentage anytime you make a sale. But we expect to have more ad spend. Whichever platform you decide to use to create your content, ensure that at least you're spending money on it.
Yeah, I think you've hinted to something that I wanted us to talk about later, but maybe it's just as good a time as any on the social media trend that I see now. This is now on this social media platform developers, actually, now, not on the consumers. I suspect that also there's going to be an increase in social commerce. A lot of social media companies are continuing to invest in how to make their social media platforms also generate revenue for businesses directly, not only through influencers or ads,
Yeah.
but also for those who are doing organic, so that even and not even organic, even if you advertise, they want you to also have their pages or your pages or your listings on their platforms. So,
Yeah.
and Meta has been very good at this, especially with WhatsApp and Facebook and even IG
Facebook
to some
shop, yeah,
extent.
even IG shop.
Yes. Yes. So and I see them doubling down in the coming year. So if you're a business, that's why, again, if you're a business, you don't want to be on one platform. And also, if you're a business, you can't afford not to be on these social media platforms. And while it might still compete with websites will still have a place. But I see the beauty about being a digital marketer or a marketing consultant is that you can be able to advise a customer to work with whatever works. If we find that, which the evidence still suggests, websites still work. If we find that websites are still are not as relevant as social media shops, we can advise you to go to the social media shops. But as it stands, websites still play a big role in e-commerce. But social media companies know this, and they are going to invest heavily in, especially come 2025, even as they build towards being a serious competitor, which maybe might take 2 or 3 years for them to actually replace e-commerce sites. So
Yeah.
that's also another trend that I see, but now on the tech space.
Yes, that is so true. Now, the last one is AI. We can't
Mm,
fail to talk about AI because that is the main change that is affecting businesses, especially in the marketing, especially when it comes to marketing. We are going to experience so much change. There's so much change that happened in 2024, and we're also going to experience much in 2025. There's the voice search, ensuring that your content is can be searched via voice, because now the Gen Zs, when you look at the research, most Gen Zs are using voice. They search using voice, so ensuring that your content can be voice searched. And then there's a lot of tools that make it easier for you to be able to edit your content, to edit graphics. So we are expecting to have more of those. That's why in our previous video we had mentioned that graphic designers are meant to reduce in this year in 2025. So because you'll be able to easily generate creatives using the tools that are available. Even the AI automated AI tools. Like you can be able to generate either using the AI images or even just your images, but you're able to create great graphics. And then, of course, there was even something that was trending last year where you can be able to generate a story, an AI generated video story, So there's so much that is going in the AI space. And the social media platforms also have already integrated the artificial intelligence, which is beneficial to even businesses when they are creating adverts. Because right now, previously, you had to go to the targeting options, you specify the different targeting options, but with time, AI will be able to understand your creative. Your work will be to ensure that your creative is very clear, and then the AI that has been integrated in the social media platform will be able to know who is your target audience depending on what you have shared on your poster and the creatives that you put on your adverts. Then, of course, the common one that we know is the Chat GPT. And of course, we have other Chat GPT variations for Google and even X. But if you're not using ChatGPT or you're not using any such generative AI, then you're losing out. You need to be able to utilize it in 2025. You're going to have more of that, where you use it to guide your content, to create more better content, to schedule your social media and the like. So we're expecting to see more of AI in 2025 on the marketing space.
True. I think that for the social media sites, AI will likely heavily um, be used to increase the potential income or the potential reach for a customer. So they will be better optimized. It will be good for any business who is trying to do targeted ads on social media. They're going to make it better so that you can reach the type of audience that you want to reach. They will also make it easier for you as a business to run your social media site. So they might be a lot of integrations with if it's Meta, it can allow you to integrate with WhatsApp and even suggest the post you should do and even customize it for the different audiences. So I
Mm,
suspect that that is going to happen. Scheduling tools are going to get better.
yeah.
The content, what I would say is, I think any marketer or any business that is using social media, it is still evolving, and of course it will get better, but I would say use it also with some caution, in the sense that especially in the content they generate, it is still not creative enough to it is good to, it will allow you to have to increase your posts and whatnot, but I would still say that it is still not at a level where I can say that it can still wow the audience to move them to converting. It'll just allow you to not be dormant on social media platform. And so use it with caution, but AI is going to continue to shape the way social media users interact with the platform. It can be can be for marketing, it can even be for posting, even for the people who are not marketing on social
Yeah.
media platform. Another thing that I think we will see is a lot of apps that link to social media sites and social media platforms, like what you've talked about. Now there'll be an influx of adjacent apps that support social media. Like, say, if you have a client relationship management tool that can allow for posts and managing client relationship queries, there'll be an app that allows you to automatically respond to customers and maybe give you a report later in the day. So that is going to evolve. You might find apps that allow you to do, like what Vicky was talking about earlier, short form videos in the snap of just a click. There'll be more content that allows you to summarize whatever you've done. So there'll be also adjacent apps that will drive a lot of people to also do more content. But like I said, do that with some caution, or try to be also the quality assurer of those platforms. Don't just copy paste when it edits a video. Don't just publish it without reviewing it, because sometimes it might get the caption wrong. It might get the aspect ratios wrong. So always take caution, but I can guarantee you it will increase the productivity. Now it goes back to the issue about creative designers being at risk, and people in the creative industry, even influencers, because if I'm paying for all these apps through subscriptions, my money to pay now somebody to do, influencer marketing for me
Yeah.
reduces, because all
Yeah.
these apps, they are going to be subscription based. And any business, if you have 10,000 shillings to work with, you will work with 10,000 shillings. So if you're paying an influencer 5,000 shillings per post, now they have to work with 2,000 shillings, because now you are paying a subscription of 2,000 for maybe ChatGPT premium and whatnot. But on the creative end, I see, and even the people who are doing videos, video editing and whatnot, if you're a graphic designer or a video editor, I would guide, or I would say that the AI is going to disrupt that business, that industry, on that career path. But you have an opportunity to now break away from the norm of looking for jobs with corporates or trying to get a gig with a client, and now create a whole brand for yourself, where AI will generate images, AI will cut videos, but there will still be demand for quality video editing. We are not yet there. We are probably 2, 3 years away from there.
Yeah.
And before that happens, there will be a serious demand, especially with corporates or large SMEs, and even large individual influencers who want still quality production. So instead of maybe looking at it as a threat, you might want to say, I am a very good videographer. I'm a very good graphic designer. How do I use AI to, instead of working on one client, to increase my reach, to then serve 5 clients in a day, because maybe video editing would take you 5 hours for one client. Now, because of AI, and you know how to use AI, you are able to still offer quality, but now with better output, which means you can even decrease the price you're charging a customer, which means he can give you more jobs, and means you can access more customers who would have otherwise not afforded you. So there's also, it's a double-edged sword, such that it might disrupt maybe the beginners and whatnot. But if you're even a beginner and you use the tools efficiently, you might be able to increase your output and decrease your individual, what's it called, the
Graphic.
price that you charge per customer, which means then the customer who would have replaced you with AI is like, okay, maybe let me continue using the AI for short stuff, but for this quality productions, maybe for my podcast or for my videos that I want to do for ads, I'll still use you as a creative designer. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true because, as we've mentioned, we are going to have, because of the competition, everyone is on the online space. Then as you are going to have a scenario where you have so much content being shared on the online space. So if you're a graphic designer, it's true. Working more
Mm.
of how to produce quality but much more content, because now AI has enabled you to do more. So you can, instead of delivering a client one creative, you can do like four to enable the client to be able to gain, because it's even easier for you from your end because you're using AI. So
Mm.
that is very true. I was just thinking, even as you were talking about AI, there was something that I watched, I think late last year. There is an AI tool that allows you to be able to, like, it creates a conversation between two people, like they are creating a podcast, a podcast that allows a conversation between two AI, and
Two,
you're
two
not putting
AI
the audio.
agents.
Yes, and you're not putting the video. So they're having a conversation and you're listening. You put a topic, you just write the topic and a few topic things that you want them to discuss. And then it generates. And you're like, okay, where we are
Yeah.
headed. Because you see, now that one you'll not be able to identify if this is a person or not. But now, for even as we are working on the podcast, then just to ensure that you make it more human friendly, such that people will be able
Mm.
to distinguish. Okay, this is,
Differentiate.
yeah, this is AI. This is a human being, because you have your
On that,
personal
I think,
experiences and the
yeah, I
like.
think even on that, as the AI gets better, the social media platforms will be required. You know how you're required as a social media platform when you're doing an ad to show that it's an ad. I suspect
Yeah.
they will also be required by ethics and the marketing society to show that this content has been AI generated, so that users are also not misguided on the content being put
Yeah,
out.
yeah, true. Yeah, wow, this has been a great conversation. I hope our audience was able to pick a few things that they're going to implement, or just a take home. Use what you've shared today, and after it works, come share with us. Or when you implement it in 2025, in December, we'll review and you say, okay, this is what I had, this is what I did, and these are the benefits to what I gained. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, bye.
Bye.